Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Mystical Visions. So, today I wanted to do a reading where we look at both the new moon and the eclipse that's currently hitting us at the same time. And since eclipses are usually a time for karmic clearing and things like that, I thought today would be the perfect opportunity to take a look at something in your karmic history that needs clearing right now. So we're going to take a look at what this is, how the baggage came about, why you're still holding on to it, and how you can let go of it, as well as some advice. So I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards as always. For pile 1, we have an amethyst. For pile 2, a lapis lazuli tower. I hope this is on camera because I have no view of it right now. And for pile 3, we have a clear quartz. So, as always, timestamps are in the video description below. If this video resonates and you find some clarity today, please do remember to like and subscribe. Comment below how this reading resonated for you. And yeah, I'll give you guys some time with these piles and I'll see you at your reading. All right, pile 1, hello. So if you guys picked the amethyst crystal, then this is your reading. So today we're taking a look at what karmic baggage you need to clear in this eclipse new moon season. And I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. These cards here will tell us what this baggage is all about, and this can be used, as always, as a way to make sure that you've picked the right reading. So if this resonates, this reading is definitely for you. Then with these cards here, we'll take a look at what this karmic baggage is, where does it come from, and why did it come your way, what the lessons are supposed to be. These cards here will tell us why you're still holding on to this, and how you can destroy this karmic baggage, how you can clear it and move forward. And then finally, with these two cards here, we'll take a look at how you can progress from this point forward, what advice the universe has for you, and so on. So let's get in. What is this reading going to be about? So to start, we have the 5 of Wands. And that is clarified by Judgment in reverse. Okay, this feels like a conflict that you feel it's almost like you feel like you have a divine right to win this conflict, but it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So it's like there is something going on where it's a sort of situation where the victory or the prize in your situation is rightfully yours, but it almost feels like in order to win it, you would need divine intervention, and that hasn't come in yet, or does not seem to want to come in. And this could be something that's been going on for a long time, but it's specifically been on your mind lately. It could be a conflict within your immediate family, because the imagery in this card is supposed to be about the brothers and their play fighting. So it's almost like a petty disagreement that you hope would go your way, and should rightfully go your way, but it seems like the universe refuses to make that happen. Yeah, so if that's something that resonates with you, hello, welcome. I'm sorry you're going through a petty feud right now, but let's see what we can do about it. So now let's take a look at what the karmic baggage is behind this situation and where it comes from. So To start, we have the Eight of Cups, and that's clarified by the Empress in reverse. Okay. Yeah, okay. So, part one, there's a couple different ways in which you could interpret this. The Eight of Cups is usually about walking away from a situation, whereas the Empress is about abundance and fertility and, parenthood, that kind of thing. So, if this is some sort of feud within the family, it could just be that you've had to walk away from your family due to a maternal figure. So that could be a mother, an auntie, a grandmother, that kind of thing. And it's because this person did not nurture you. This person was not abundant, and therefore they weren't able to share that abundance with you when you needed it. With the Eight of Cups specifically, like generally it's the image traditionally for the Eight of Cups is someone who has stacked up all these cups and then recognized that that's not for them anymore. But here specifically in this deck, it feels like there's so many tears shed over these letters, but it almost feels like these letters were never sent. And so letters are things that someone says to you, right? And so it feels like there are many things that this person should have said to you, could have said to you, but did not. And because it's cups, it makes me feel like this is an emotional thing where there's a lot of emotional connection that you were supposed to have with this person that you just didn't get to. And because of that, you walked away from the situation, but what most people don't realize is that they abandoned you first, right? You may have been the one to physically leave the situation, but they are the ones who abandoned you emotionally first, which then led to this situation that you're in now. So this could be like a low contact, no contact situation with a parent or an older sibling, someone with feminine energy that is quite unbalanced, as in they are unbalanced as a person. And yeah, I'm very much getting estranged mother vibes from this. But what's the karmic baggage? So that kind of gives us an idea of where it comes from. We have Justice in reverse and the Knight of Wands. Yeah, okay. So Justice in reverse. Notice how all the major arcana are in reverse. Like this is a big part of your life that did not go right. So this is like a major connection in your life, a major karmic relationship that just did not pan out the way that it should. With Justice, again, it's like, yeah, there's like some sort of scale that you should be tipping in your favor, but it's not. And you feel like it is so unfair, so unjust. And it's almost like it's making you reckless, like this connection that went wrong or went the wrong way, not the way it should have gone. This soured relationship has almost colored the rest of your life. You may not even have noticed how it's affected you, but I also think this is what's made you quite reckless. You may have grown up with quite a controlling parent, and so when you got freedom, you kind of didn't recognize the need for moderation. And so maybe as an adult, you find, oh, that was loud. Maybe as an adult, you find yourself making reckless decisions, losing your temper, being quite short tempered, which is understandable. But what's the karmic baggage here? I think very much this has to do with like a mother wound, for sure. Like I'm not even gonna try and interpret it in any other way. Like if that doesn't resonate, then this is probably not your reading. But and it also doesn't feel like a wound where you were both going through a tough time, or they just didn't know any better. I feel like a lot of their behavior was intentionally hurting you, which is so, like, it makes me so upset that anyone would treat their own child that way. But apparently it happens a lot. So, there's all these people that talk about parental abandonment, emotional abandonment, and that kind of thing. And it's a lot more common than you would think. But it doesn't make it any easier just because a lot of people go through it, right? So with Justice in reverse and the Knight of Wands, it really does feel like, another thing you might be going through, or you might notice as a pattern in your life, is that the second it starts to feel like things are not going to go exactly the way you planned, even if there's just the tiniest inkling of it, you might run away from that situation. So say, for instance, you want to apply for a study course, right? And you realize there's a lot of paperwork you need to do. The second one little hiccup happens, like on your path, you immediately think, I need to run away from the situation because it's clearly not going to pan out. And that might come from this lack of security that this person instilled in you, where they didn't teach you how to feel rooted in one place, grounded. And as a result, you kind of learned that the only way to be safe is to walk away from anything that hurts. And so now, the second something even slightly goes wrong, between this and your maybe a short temper, between the two of those, the second something goes slightly sideways, you vanish. That could be a pattern that you recognize in your life. It's definitely a deep mother wound, and you probably know this already, but you probably don't recognize the extent to which it affects how you act and how your life has panned out, and that's probably why it's coming up in this reading. Important signs: Taurus, Libra, Sagittarius, I believe. Lots of fire energy, little bit of water. I think this new moon eclipse, they might be in either your signs, like a sign in your big three, or a sign in the big three of your parent, or whoever this person is. Because it feels like right now you're very much being called to heal this wound. Okay, so next let's take a look at why you're still holding on to this pain. Now, obviously, if this is a parental figure, and if your survival does still depend on this person, I think we know why you'd be holding on to this. But in either case, let's take a look. We have the Ace of Wands in reverse, and that is clarified by the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah. Okay. Why are you still holding on to this wound or this karmic baggage? It's because, oh, this is the Seven of Pentacles, not the Eight. My bad. But we will keep in mind that I made that mistake because there are no accidents. But the Ace of Wands in reverse clarified by the Seven of Pentacles. One, you may have buried this wound very deeply and it's only recently come up to the surface, which is usually a good thing because it means you've done quite a bit of healing to where all the surface level stuff has been healed. And so now it's the deeper stuff that's coming up to be released, which, well done, Pile One. I'm proud of you for getting to this point. Ace of Wands in reverse talks about a lack of passion, a lack of creativity. They're moving furniture upstairs, sorry guys. But yeah, a lack of passion, a lack of creativity, a lack of drive, motivation, that kind of thing. And the Seven of Pentacles usually talks about someone who is investing now for future rewards, right? Someone who is burying their pentacles in the ground because they know that eventually, if they work hard enough, all of this will bear fruit. So, and the Eight of Pentacles, by the way, is the card of working hard. So together, it kind of makes me think that the reason you hold on to this is because it's easier to put your head in the sand than to face the fact that this damage has been done. So you'll find that maybe as a child, you had a lot of ambition, which was sequentially and gradually stamped out over time. And so now you find yourself without any passions, without anything that lights you up, without any creative inspiration, because all of that is very deep. But I think now maybe the time for it to show up in your life, all this creative energy, all this expression that you've been keeping very deeply. And it's like the longer you hold on to this wound, the easier it is to not heal it. Does that make sense? Like it's easier to stay stuck in the status quo than to make drastic changes, right? So as human beings, we are not wired for change. We are wired for consistency. And if this wound and keeping all this creativity buried deep is familiar, even though it comes at the cost of having no fire within you, just because it's familiar, you can hold on to it. So it's very much a self-protective mechanism more than anything else, because that's the only reason we do it, is because the fear of the unknown is way scarier than pain that is familiar to us, right? But with the Seven of Pentacles, I'm seeing that you have a lot of gifts that are buried deep within. Gifts that maybe at one time you wanted to explore, but you never got to. Like, do you see how this egg is? It's like it's set on fire, like it's been petrified. That egg was supposed to hatch into a bird that would eventually fly away, but it's been set on fire so that it will never hatch. That's kind of how I see your potential to grow and to do wonderful things. It's been burnt to a crisp by someone who didn't want you to achieve that potential. And so you buried it deep within, but that potential still lives inside you. So that's another reason you hold on to this wound, is because it reminds you all the time of all the things that you wanted to do. But now I guess the challenge here, or your assignment here, is to separate this person and this situation from all of these gifts. You can still access them without involving this person in your situation. you can find that creativity again, that fire again. You can find those eggs again, which is interesting because, the womb, the egg, there's a lot of like maternal synchronicity here. But you can find that potential again on your own without this person's support, without this person's input in any way. So how can you destroy this baggage and reclaim your destiny, essentially, and move on from the situation? We have Temperance, beautiful. And that is clarified by the High Priestess, also beautiful. Okay, lots of blue energy. The High Priestess always makes me think of like bluey purples, like the color of a lapis lazuli. But both of these cards are about balance and indulging your spirituality. So the High Priestess is always connected to the realms above, always. She doesn't have a moment for human goings on, which is interesting because that's what the Empress is the human aspect of the divine feminine. But the High Priestess, like, this is that Piscean energy of not being of this world and of being completely disconnected. However, it has come here to clarify Temperance, which is a card about balance, and not just static balance, but dynamic balance. The idea is that a single cup might not be able to hold all of this water, but if you keep shifting it between cups, all of that water can be contained. So what you might be missing in your life right now is this spiritual aspect. And that's what will bring balance into your mind. That's what will bring balance to this Justice card, where the more you indulge in, say, guided meditations, past life regressions, getting therapy if that's what you need, exploring things like astral travel and remote viewing, like all that kind of stuff, a lot of healing, a lot of inner work, a lot of higher self work, meeting your spirit guides and angels and all of that cool stuff. The more you indulge in that, the more you'll find that your life is balancing out. However, there is a bit of like a cautionary tale here where it's about, don't forget to also come back to your earth self once you've enjoyed this. And then once you're embodying your earth self, make sure you also go back to your spiritual self as well and keep going back and forth. Because the idea isn't to stick to one side of yourself or the other. The idea is to integrate the two. And that's how you move on from this, because this person truly limited your understanding of all the different facets of you, right? They hid you from yourself, and that's very damaging. But now you have the opportunity to step away from this energy and to explore aspects of yourself that you didn't know before, you hadn't met before. And when you find that balance, and when you're able to engage in both your more human self and your more soulful self, when you're able to find a dynamic balance between the two, you'll realize that this wound kind of heals itself on the back burner. Like, you don't actively need to poke at it and prod at it all the time anymore. And you'll find that it's easy for you to find these gifts again, to find inspiration and creativity again, because you're no longer shackled to a certain image of yourself that this person told you was who you are, right? So definitely engage in spiritual practices. Maybe start small, start journaling your feelings or becoming in touch with your feelings, or making gratitude lists, that kind of thing, because I really think it will help you immensely. I'm just going to take a little sip of water before we get into the advice. All right, so for the advice, I grabbed 2 oracle cards. I wanted to look at the archetype that you're being called to embody right now, as well as some advice from the animal spirit deck. So for the archetype, we have no way, dude, the womb. Weren't we just talking about like motherhood and the egg and womb symbolism? You're joking. So this is card 46, I believe. Let's have a look see. Okay, the womb. Everything has an origin story. The womb archetype asks us to contemplate the beginning beyond the beginning, the mother beyond the mother. In a world that often negates the power and necessity of feminine principles, this card returns us to the warmth, tenderness, and sacred intelligence from which we came. This card is a call to keep things simple, to return, to be reborn in the name of love. The womb is everywhere. It is beyond gender, beyond time. We are within it as it is within us. Nourishment, harmony, warmth, and love. So this is clear as day. Like, this is a clear message. How can you mother yourself? Because that's what this archetype wants you to embody right now. How can you give yourself the nourishment, the warmth, the nurturing that your own parent did not give you, that they were not capable of giving you? Well, no, that's a lie. I do believe they were capable of giving you. They simply chose not to. But again, this is a general reading. Apply it to your situation as it works. But like, do you see this image? Like, there's a pearl deep within this darkness. That's your light that is buried within this darkness, and your job is to give birth to it, is to bring it out into the world. And the only way to do that is by being gentle to yourself, by giving yourself the love and support that this person didn't have the privilege to give you. And finally, we have the whale spirit in reverse. This is one of my favorite cards. Trust the great mystery. I will also read this from the book. This is number 65, and it is in reverse. So, certainty is not offered to you right now. You are being asked to trust the process of co-creation. Whale Spirit reminds you that your primary reality is not that of the material world, but that of the realm of the spirit, from which the essence of your dreams and desires take shape before arriving as a specific form. Stay in your present moment awareness and allow the hidden realms to hold your intentions safely until it's time for them to manifest in the realm of form. Some things take longer than others to arrive. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I think that is also referencing this conflict where we saw that you felt like it was taken away from you, this victory of some sort. And this card here is just telling us it is about patience, and that you're meant to shift your focus to your hopes and dreams right now, because once you're able to focus in on the energy of manifestation, of power, of success and happiness, this situation will resolve itself. It has to happen in your mind's eye first, and then it will happen in the physical world. You've got this, Pawan, I promise, okay? You can do this. this is going to be one of the hardest wounds you will ever heal, but it will be so, so, so worth it when you do it. Okay? So that's your reading for today, Pile 1. I truly hope it resonated and that it brought you some support and clarity. If it did, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment below how this resonated for you. If you like what I do and would like a private reading, you can email me. My email is down in the video description. And that's about it. So thank you guys so, so much for being here and sharing your time and energy with me and letting me do this reading for you. I truly hope it helped. You can stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pile number 2. Hello. So if you guys chose this lapis lazuli tower, then this is your reading. Welcome. So I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. These cards here will tell us what this entire reading is about, and it's a great way to make sure you've picked the right pile because it's basically an energy check. These cards here will give us a look at what this karmic baggage is, where it comes from, and why it affects you so deeply. These 2 cards here will tell us why you're still holding on to this, what unfinished business you have with this karmic baggage. And then these cards here will tell us how you can destroy this baggage and move forward. And then finally with these cards here, we'll take a look at some advice for you. We'll get to that in a sec. So let's dive right in. What is this reading going to be about? What is the situation? To start, we have the 9 of Cups. Oh, beautiful. And that's clarified by the Hermit, which is also a 9, by the way. So 9s might be a number you're seeing quite frequently. The 9 of Cups and the Hermit, which is interesting because generally the 9 of Cups is happiness, but it's usually just one person finding happiness on their own. But in this specific deck, it's a couple who are very much in love, whereas the Hermit is all alone. What is this reading about? It could be that you're asking about a relationship where you fear being left alone, or perhaps you may have issues opening up to a relationship where maybe you're seeing someone, but you're so used to being by yourself that it's kind of hard to let them into your life, to allow them to take care of you, to allow them to connect with you emotionally, that kind of thing. Because with the Hermit here, this is very much the idea of walking away from the world in order to be able to see the world more clearly. And so you might be someone who observes the world from a safe distance, for the most part. And so when you're thrown into something like a relationship, I'm very much getting romantic vibes from this reading. So if that's not something that resonates with you, I mean, you could apply it to your situation, but I don't really know how well the rest of the reading would go for you. But if you are asking about love, this is what it is. Now that you're being thrown into a romantic relationship, which is no longer watching from a safe distance, but rather being a part of something, it could be triggering some fears, some abandonment wounds, and that kind of thing, where you're so used to having your own space and doing your own thing and not having anyone dictate your life. You are so used to being independent, and you feel like a lot of your wisdom comes from that independence, from the fact that you don't have emotional attachments. And now that you do feel an emotional connection, there might be a fear surrounding it. So if that's something that resonates for you, hello, welcome. And I highly sympathize with the idea of wanting to watch the world from afar. So you're in good company. So let's dive in. What is the karmic baggage here, and where does it come from? To start, we have the Oracle, or the Queen of Pentacles, in reverse. And that's clarified by the Seven of Coins, which is again the Seven of Pentacles. the Queen of Pentacles in reverse and the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. You might in the past have had connections where you didn't value your independence enough, and so you invested everything you had into that connection, which perhaps didn't work out. With the Oracle or the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, this is kind of, the Queen of Pentacles is someone who, she doesn't have to work hard for her wealth. She knows that wealth comes to her, but she also knows that it will stay with her, that she is abundant, that the money can't be taken away from her, that everything she has is hers to keep. So to have that in reverse, clarified by the Seven of Coins, which is the card of investing, of, putting things down right now because you know that they will pay off later. Like, say you put in a fixed deposit with your bank and you know that it's going to reap interest later at the end of your term, like that kind of thing. So with these two, it feels like you may in the past have made unwise investments in relationships. This feels financial, like it could be like literal money investment that you then lost due to that relationship not working out. And therefore you've chosen since that moment to only live by and for yourself. Right, and that may be what caused you to go hermit mode. And this may be something you didn't even think would affect you for this long, because it does. But Pentacles energy, and this being Earth energy as well, it's very slow moving. So it very much feels like this may have taken quite a while. Like you may have been by yourself for 7 years with the Seven of Coins card here. And at this point, it's basically a way of life for you, right? And so now that love has come a knocking again, or now that you feel like you want a relationship, like you're kind of craving one again, it's like this fear is coming back to like grab you and maybe remind you of not so savory relationships. Okay. Next we have the Hermit in reverse. Huh? Okay. Let's see what you have to say, brother. Clarified by the Two of Swords, also in reverse. Interesting. Where does it come from? What is the karmic baggage here? Okay. What you don't realize is that going hermit mode was not something you did out of choice, but rather out of necessity. With the Two of Swords in reverse, it's like you didn't have a choice but to tend for yourself, to lick your wounds in isolation. And it can't have been easy because we are not meant to stay isolated. We're not meant to live all alone or by ourselves. And we are meant to be in a community. We are meant to be surrounded by people we love and care about and who love and care about us. And so a lot of the times what happens is when we are forced into isolation, or when we choose isolation because we need to retreat and regain some sort of power, control over our own lives, like everything's falling apart and we need to regain composure. That's not easy. It's painful and scary. However, you might have convinced yourself a little bit down the line that that's actually a choice you want to make, and that it's the smartest choice you could have made. And maybe at the time that's very true. at the time you made that choice, it was the only thing you could do. But somewhere down the line, you've forgotten that that choice was made out of necessity, not out of volition. It was not made out of your own volition. So putting all of this together, like the karmic baggage here is nothing to do with this person. It is entirely to do with whoever this relationship was with, where you may have almost sacrificed yourself in order to invest in this relationship. Like you may have very much been the breadwinner, the emotional nurturer, the comic relief. I don't know. You may have had children with this person, which is like pretty much the biggest investment you could make with someone. And that relationship kind of fell apart. And not only were you left alone, but you may not have regained everything you invested in that connection as well. And so that's a deep wound, right? And you may have sought healing about it and, all of that. But a lot of the times that was a loud bike, I'm sorry. A lot of the times we don't recognize just how many aspects of our lives are affected by these wounds. So even though we may have healed for the most part, there's still little nuanced habits that we carry with us that show up in weird ways. And when you're able to recognize those things, like in your case, the isolation, that's an important step towards healing it. So this entire situation really is about the reason you're here, the reason this reading wants to come to you right now is because it's almost like a reminder that this choice to isolate yourself was made out of necessity. It wasn't something that you did because you thought it would make you happy. It was more like a survival thing. So now let's take a look at why you're still holding on to this karmic relationship, because it really does feel like this relationship was very karmic in nature. We have the Two of Cups in reverse. Well, I mean, terrified by the Lovers in reverse. Okay. Sometimes the cards just don't mess around. Why you're still holding on to this is because it has started to color your future relationships. It feels like no matter whom you see, no matter what kind of person they are, in them you see a shadow of this person. In those relationships, you see a reflection of this past relationship, and you're kind of holding on to the pain because it's almost like you're hoping that the things that you invested in this relationship will be returned to you, and then you can move on fully. And like maybe that's why you're still holding on to the memories of this relationship, even if they are tainted, even if all you remember is the hurt and the pain, and it makes you so angry every time you think of this person and think of this situation. What's going on here is I saw a thing earlier today that said the reason you keep reopening the wound is because you're waiting for a trial that will never come. So it's like you're hoping that there will be a moment of reckoning where you have all of these memories fresh in your mind so you can make your case and make sure that, you get back everything that you put in, because then you'll feel like that relationship was not a loss. Does that make sense? However, that's not going to happen. right? And I feel like deep down you know this as well. Like, obviously, you're never going to run into this person unless you absolutely have to. And even if you do, there isn't going to be this grand moment of, apology and here's your money back, here's your time back, here's your emotional energy back. Of course, that's not going to happen. All of that has been spent and it's gone and it's buried. But deep down, it's like you're hoping that somehow you might get rewarded for all the effort that you put into this. But understand something. The universe will never reward you for abandoning yourself because you are the universe. If you abandoned, say, a child, and that child grows up, they are not going to, beg you to take them back, or they're not going to reward you for abandoning them. And so it's the same way with you and the universe. You abandoning yourself is the universe abandoning itself. Does that make sense? So whatever was lost in this connection is not going to come back to you, because then you wouldn't have learned your lesson. You wouldn't have learned that self-abandonment means you're only going to face drama and pain. Because otherwise, what would the lesson be, right? If you just got back everything you put in, you'll just go ahead and do it to the next person, where you abandon yourself again, and then you lose everything again, and then you just get it back again, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess this is how the game works. No. So the reason you're holding on to it is because you're hoping somehow that your contributions to these connections, okay, so far it was just this connection, but I guess there's multiple. But your contribution in this situation, you're hoping that it will be recognized still, and then you can move on, even though you don't want the situation back, I hope. But that's not worth it. Even if on the off chance that you get all your stuff back, will it reverse the pain? No. Will it reverse the isolation? No. So why hold on to something that keeps actively hurting you, right? So next, let's take a look at how you can destroy this baggage, because I don't know about you, I'm ready for you to destroy this baggage, but how you can move on from this karmic situation. We have the Empress in reverse, and that's clarified by the Seven of Cups. Okay. Go back to your wild self. Go back to options. Go back to enjoying the illusion of pleasure, because the Empress upright. This is why I had to. Okay. So, sorry. When I was preparing for this reading and shuffling the cards, I felt the need to keep hold of the guidebook for this specific deck. And I know now it's because the Empress card in reverse has a very specific meaning that most of the decks don't have. So, reverse. If you got yourself into a mess, consider how to move forward and create change. There is some repression at play, but your feelings are going to demand to be felt until you give in. So listen up. Reconnect to nature's beautiful wildness, get your hands dirty, and repair your roots. And also, just the Empress card upright in this deck is about knowing how to feel. Rather than being concerned with how we should feel, we must listen to what our bodies demand, pairing emotional and physical intuition. Consider how to increase awareness of your physical needs and desires. How might you release the shoulds that society has encouraged you to take on? Because the thing is, you were once a wild thing. You have been domesticated. It's time to become feral and reunite with your senses, even through tears. How can you move on from the situation? Get out there and be wild. Be crazy. Take back the years that you lost, not only to this person and the situation, but also to the isolation that came after. With the Seven of Cups, this usually talks about illusions. You know, there's 7 cups in front of you. You don't know what is going to come out of either one of them. You just pick one blindly, and whatever comes out, and that's it. So this is very much about you indulging the more playful aspects of, you know, dating and things like that. The more childlike wonder that comes with connecting with other people. That's how you're going to move on from this, not just this relationship and this isolation, but also this habit of giving too much of yourself away. You might be someone who gets too serious way too quickly in relationships. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're not abandoning yourself in order to please someone else, which you have been doing, pal too. So we're going to stop that. And we're going to stop that by taking things less seriously, at least in the early stages of any connection. Okay? Your job is not to think about the future or think about, oh, where are we going to be in 5 years' time? Are we going to end up married with children? No, not right now. That's not important right now. What's important is for you to heal all of this that's, you know, buried so deeply inside you. Because that's how you heal your tendency to overgive, to overextend, and to overinvest in something that does not pay off. And more importantly, that's how you heal your resentment towards things that didn't work out in your favor. Okay? So finally, let's take a look at some advice. So with this card, I kind of wanted to see what archetype you're being asked to embody right now in order to work through the situation. And we have the Vision. Beautiful. Okay. Let's take a look. So this is number 55, which 2 5s, which is the number of change. But let's see what this has to say. The Vision. The dream, the imagined, the revealed. It is said that we are each born with a unique vision, a destiny towards which we are aimed. It is also said that we forget this vision the moment we are born. Thus, we are sent on a lifelong journey of rediscovery. Such is the elusive nature of the vision. We trust the world and its synchronicities. We walk through new doors into wondrous opportunities. We all want to be near those with vision. They emit energy more potent than any elixir. Bring back mystery, bring back the dreams. One light, potent imagination, synchronicity, trust. Yes, okay, so right now you're being called to indulge in the idea of what ifs, but in a good way. Like, oh my goodness, I can't stop fantasizing about this person. What if they say this to me? What if we do this together? What if we hang out and suddenly they pulled out a diamond tennis bracelet, you know? The idea is for you to indulge those fantasies, the little fairy tale moments that you've not allowed yourself to indulge in for a very long time because you took this situation so seriously. So right now, you're here to discover what you want, to discover who you are through the process of not taking love so seriously, not taking relationships so seriously. And finally, we have the Scarab Beetle Spirit. Magic works through you in reverse. Okay, so this one here, this is number 52, so 55 and 52. Interesting. This is also in reverse. Do you doubt your unique inner magic? Are you afraid that you have no originality or that creative juices don't flow through you? Perhaps you mistakenly believe you're not the creative manifesting type. Scarab Beetle Spirit's message is that creativity is a living force that comes to all of us from Spirit, who wants every person on the planet to manifest magic and co-create the world anew. Creativity and magic are your legacy as an expression of the Creator, so let them flow through you. You might find that a lot of this playful energy comes to you when you indulge in creative pursuits. So maybe you take up a new hobby, maybe you take up a new skill, maybe you learn to paint or make ceramics or crochet, that kind of thing. That again is indulging your playful side, the kind of like artsy craftsy things that we used to do as little kids. Because through that you might learn a lot about yourself as well. I'm an artist. That's what I do full time. And I realized that a lot of my aha moments, a lot of my learning, a lot of my elevations, no, that's not the word, a lot of my enlightenment kind of things come when I'm painting, because it's essentially meditation. Your body is engaged in doing something, so your mind is free to wander. And a lot of my growth as a person has come when I'm painting. So if you're thinking about taking up a creative hobby, definitely do it, because it will open up parts of your brain that you didn't even know existed, and will bring you answers like nothing else, I promise. Okay, so that's your reading for today, part 2. Very interesting and very exciting, because what are we going to do? Not think too much. Okay, we're just going to have fun right now. So thank you so much for being here and spending some time with me and sharing your energy with me. I truly hope this reading resonated. If it did, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment below how this resonated for you. And if you'd like a private reading, my email is down in the video description. But that's about it. So thanks so much for watching. You can stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pile number 3, hello. So if you guys chose the clear quartz, then this is your reading. And before we dive in, I just want to say, when I was shuffling your cards, they were very decisive. They came out exactly the way they wanted to, the way I wanted them to. And also, like, your energy is one I do not want to mess with. Like, I feel like you are an authority. So and also you got extra oracle cards, but I did not want to fight with them because I'm a little intimidated by your energy, I'm gonna be honest. But if you chose the clear quartz, this is your reading all about what karmic baggage you are meant to release in this eclipse new moon season. I'm feeling very Capricorn vibes. Anyway, so I've gone ahead and pre-shuffled your cards. These cards here are going to be an energy check. So we'll take a look at why you are here, what this reading is going to be about today. And if that resonates with you, then you'll definitely know you've picked the right pile. Then with these cards here, we'll take a look at what this karmic baggage is all about and where it comes from. These cards here will tell us why you're still holding on to it, what is still to be released and healed. And then these cards here will tell us how you can go about healing this karmic wound. And then finally, we'll take a look at some advice for you about this whole situation. So let's dive right in. To start, what this reading is going to be about today is the 3 of Wands in reverse. And that's clarified by the 8 of Pentacles, also in reverse. You're tired. You work like an insane amount, and you feel like it's getting you nowhere. Because with the 3 of Wands in reverse, this is the energy of staying put, staying where you are. But and usually that's about, homecoming and finding a familiar environment again. But in this case, it almost feels like being stuck. With the 8 of Pentacles in reverse, it's like you're working hard to no avail. No avail? To no avail. You're working hard to no avail. I mean, hey, if you're a marine biologist, let me know. But it feels like no matter how hard you work, you simply cannot get a leg up. Like everything that's going on around you is kind of pushing you to stay stuck in the same routine over and over again, and you're about ready to break out of it. So If that's your situation, hello, welcome. This is definitely your reading. So, what is this karmic baggage that you're being called to let go of right now? To start, we have the Seven of Wands in reverse, clarified by death. Oh, okay, interesting. The Seven of Wands upright usually talks about defending everything that you have earned, whereas death talks about an ending. So to have this in reverse, I'm actually going to look in the book for this because I'm not getting anything specific, but this book has very interesting messages. Seven of Wands in reverse. You have grown up in a community with a lot of critical voices. You are used to having to fight for your opinion to be heard, and you're exhausted. Stop wasting your energy convincing others of something they are not willing to accept, and instead hold your power by accepting yourself as you are. Interesting. Because didn't we just talk about, well, first of all, we talked about exhaustion, but also about how hard you feel like you're working, but it's getting you nowhere. This cycle of, I'm working so hard, I'm getting nothing for it. I'm working so hard, but no one sees me. It might come from an early life experience or several early life experiences where maybe you're like the youngest child of several children. Like maybe you're a group of 7 siblings. I don't know. But it's like the book said, it's like you might come from a life where you never were seen or heard for who you are. And it's like nothing you ever did or said could get you the attention that you so desperately needed at the time, because every child needs attention. Every child needs affection. And so it got to a point where you just taught yourself not to ask anymore. With this death card here, it's like in a very literal way, it's like it killed your voice. And so now you hope that if you work hard enough, people will hear you or see you working hard enough and therefore recognize your importance. However, you might not be very good at showing your work, at marketing yourself. You might not be very good at taking the credit for the work you do or accepting compliments, that kind of thing. Yeah, this definitely feels like a fear of, well, it's not a fear of being seen. It's more a fear of rejection or the fear of being invisible. So like if you make yourself invisible, it's like you can control that invisibility. It's like no one is making you invisible, you're choosing it. It's like an illusion of control thing. Next we have the Tower in reverse, clarified by the Page of Cups, also in reverse. Okay. So the longer you don't allow this wall that you've built around yourself, the longer you keep it up, the longer you don't let it fall, the longer you'll be kept from the success that is destined to you. The Page of Cups is usually someone who is starting on their emotional journey and all of that, right? But in this deck specifically, and I always read it like this for this deck, that red thread of fate, that's kind of what's important in this particular image. This is the thread that brings people to their soulmates in a romantic sense, but also to their fated success, to their fated situations, to the things they are meant to be and have. And the Tower in reverse is a refusal to let things fall apart, knowing fully well that they are built on very shaky foundations. So both of these together, it's like this habit you have of hoping that your work will speak for you, it's a tower built on a shaky foundation. That shaky foundation being you not wanting to feel rejected because you were not seen. And so why do you carry this baggage? Where does it come from? It comes from a lifetime of being ignored at a very early age, which you then used to teach yourself that if I can reject myself, no one else will have the opportunity to reject me, and therefore I won't be as hurt because I saw it coming. Right? It's that kind of thinking where you convince yourself that if you just don't ask for attention and then no one gives you attention, you're essentially getting what you want, which is a lack of attention. The reason you feel stuck right now, Pal 3, is not because there's any unseen forces working against you, anything dramatic like that. The reason you feel stuck is because you don't talk about yourself. You don't gas yourself up. You don't big up your achievements. And that's because you learned that it's just less painful if you don't talk about yourself, right? So that's kind of where this baggage is coming from. So now let's take a look at why you're still holding on to this. To start, we have the Champion or the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. And that's clarified by the King of Pentacles also in reverse. So the Knight of Pentacles in reverse is almost like a refusal to make a move unless you know exactly how every single detail will pan out. This is the slowest moving knight, and when it's upright, it's someone who is cautious and wise and makes smart choices. In reverse, it's like the way I like to interpret it is like an extreme version of it, like being overly cautious, right? It's someone who won't make a move. I just remembered a funny anecdote. Like I used to see someone who failed their driving test because they went too slowly because they were so afraid of getting into a crash that they just wouldn't go forward, and so they failed their driving test because they didn't drive. And it's kind of giving me that energy, that overly cautious nature that, sorry, I'm not laughing at you, I'm just laughing at that person. The overly cautious nature that keeps you stuck in one place is also the same thing that keeps you safe from this rejection. If you're quiet enough and you don't make any waves, you won't be seen as attention seeking. You might have been, there might be a wound from early life where someone made you feel bad for asking for attention, for seeking attention. And so now you run as far away from that kind of behavior as possible. You don't even want to imagine that someone might think you are asking for attention. It can't even compute in your mind. But then also, somewhere you're sort of recognizing that if you don't get attention, you also won't get money. You might work in a field that rewards fame, that rewards celebrity status, or like you get rich from knowing people rather than from having a skill. And it's like you're trying to apply a skills-based path to a fame-based path, and they are very different things. But it's like deep down, you know that the way to grow in your career is to make moves, is to be seen, is to be visible, and to demand people's attention. However, because there is this fear that you're holding on to, it's kind of undermining your success, and that's what's keeping you stuck. But why are you holding on to it? Because it feels familiar and safe and comfortable. That's pretty much been the theme through this entire video, by the way. All of the piles have had the same issue, is it's comfortable and familiar, even though it hurts like hell to be stuck in one place. At least no one will call you names for seeking attention, right? That's the only reason you're still holding on to this wound. So how can you break through and let go of this karmic baggage? We have the moon in reverse, and that's clarified by the star in reverse. Okay, interesting. The moon in reverse, the way you can break through this is to gain clarity about your situation. And the star in reverse is, do not romanticize any of this. It feels like in your mind you may have romanticized the idea of being like a recluse, being, the kind of person who works away in silence. You know that the CEO quotes that are like, work hard in silence, let success be your noise. No. Success only goes to noisy people in this day and age. Like, that's just how it is. And this is something I have to learn myself as well, by the way. So I'm not saying this from a place of judgment at all whatsoever. But the point is, you have to gain clarity about the things that you have romanticized in your mind, and you need to uncover them, pull the veil back and see them for what they truly are. And that is escapism, right? You're trying to escape this wound, this feeling of being misunderstood at such a young age, being labeled an attention seeker, when really all you wanted was to be proud of the things you do, to be proud of the things you're able to do, and you wanted someone to be proud of you. And to have that twisted and used against you is a wound that cuts so deep that you would rather just not have the attention at all, and therefore you don't put yourself out there at all. And then somewhere down the line, you've kind of convinced yourself that that's the more noble way to live, I guess, to just not put yourself out there, to be quiet and meek, and one day someone will see you, like they, in those rom-coms where someone sees the quiet shy girl and like takes their glasses off and is like, oh, you're actually very beautiful. Why do you want someone to take your glasses off in order to call you beautiful? You are beautiful. You got to put that out there. In the same way, you are brilliant at what you do. You just have to put it out there, because no one's going to sit around hoping to, find a gem, a diamond in the rough. That's not how this world works. It may be how it used to work back in the day, but now with how loud everything is, you have to scream in order to be heard. This is such a quick reading, you guys. Like, none of the other piles had the messages come through that quickly. Like, I didn't even have to stop to think, because this is just like a straight to the point message. So we're just going to move on. Let's take a look at the advice. So for these two cards, I wanted to kind of see the archetype that you're being asked to embody right now. The first one is the Mountain, which is card number 33. Which is the number of creativity. And the Creator, and that's card 22. Shut up. There's no way. Didn't I just say that's that's the number of creativity? But we'll read them both. 33 and 22, very interesting. The Mountain, the ascent, the peak, the insurmountable. The mountain stands eternally in our awareness, calling us towards its peak. It stirs up stoic and regal feelings, reminding us of the long line of spirits, sages, sadhus, and gods that made their humble thrones within its snowy peaks. Beware, though, as the mountain can affect us in two ways. It can inspire and enliven us to rise to new heights and peak experience, yet it can also create isolation, competitiveness, and an inflated sense of self. No matter how high you ascend, remember that it is within the core of the mountain that the gems, minerals, and jewels reside. If you think it's all about going up, you're following the fool's path and missing the miner's magic. And number 22, 22, the creator, the artist, the alchemist, the innovator. The creator, the first archetype in the trio of existence, is not intimidated by darkness or by lack. They know that from the void, creation inevitably emerges. The creator reveals a new image. They make the empty room resonate with healing sounds. They generate bounty from the seed that others tossed away. Whether we call it nature, God, goddess, Shakti, or divinity, it remains nameless. It is the creator's lifelong companion. When like curious, playful, open, surprising. Yeah. I definitely think you might be someone who works in a creative field where you're trying to rise to the top and you're going about it the wrong way in that you're rejecting the power that is in your voice, and instead you're hoping that if you just create enough volume of work that will somehow bring you success someday. But that's doing the hard work of climbing up the mountain, whereas the jewels are found by doing the relatively easy job of mining deep into the mountain to find the gems that are there. So definitely allow yourself to be seen. You're being asked to embody these energies right now, because that's kind of how you work through this baggage. For the animal spirit advice, we have groundhog spirit, time to let go. And that's number 31. And we have the fox spirit, think on your feet. That's number 27. Read these two from the book as well. So 31, groundhog spirit. Endings lead to beginnings, and death is a part of life. So groundhog spirit is here to let you know that it is time to accept the natural ending of something that is no longer serving you. We love to hold on to what is familiar, but the new needs space. When groundhog spirit appears, it is a sign that there is something in your present situation that you need to let go of so that something new can be born. Say farewell to whatever once served you and get ready for something amazing to take its place. Spirit is already sending it your way. Yeah. It's time to let go of whatever did serve you in the past. Like we said, like at the time, this was important for you. Now it is only in your way. And fox spirit, think on your feet. Be alert now, for fox spirit has appeared, and you are meant to move swiftly. Let this clever spirit draw out your creativity as you adjust to rapidly changing circumstances with resilience, grace, and astuteness. Fox spirit helps you think on your feet, using your best judgment and wits to help you slip into a more advantageous situation. Trust that your cleverness, guided by fox spirit, will serve you well. I think there might be an opportunity coming your way very soon, and that's why this reading had to reach you right now, Pile 3, because when this opportunity comes in, you are supposed to strike while the iron is hot. You are not meant to, step to the back of the room and hide and hope that they will pick you anyway because you do such good work. No. Once this opportunity presents itself, which I get a strong feeling that it will, you are meant to build up to this level of confidence where you are happy to put your name in the ring, put your name in the hat, put your hat in the ring, whatever that saying is. You are excited to put yourself out there, put yourself forward as a possible candidate for this opportunity, because you know you're really good and you know that you're capable of doing amazing things. And when the opportunity presents itself, make sure that you take it. Okay, so that's your reading for today, pile number 3. Very interesting. I hope it resonated and it brought you some support and clarity. If it did, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment below how this resonated for you, and let me know how this opportunity unfolds when it does. If you'd like to support my channel, if you'd like a private reading, let me know via email. My email is in the video description. And that's about it. So thank you guys so much for sharing your time and energy with me and letting me do this reading for you. I truly hope it's helped. You can stick around to the outro just after this for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.